After starting 0-3 this year, are you ready to say that the Bengals are cooked?
So here's where I think my own bias is the wrong word. It might be the right word, but it implies the wrong thing. I'm not biased towards the Bengals because I like them, but I think I might be biased in a positive way towards the Bengals because I respect how well they play the Chiefs so much that I might be overrating who they've been the last season and a quarter. Last year, we wrote them off early because Joe Burrow was clearly not healthy. Now, they did end up rallying, and then Joe Burrow got hurt again, and they were done. This year is something different altogether. They have lost 3 games in 3 very unique ways. They lose to the Patriots in week 1 when they simply cannot get the ball in the end zone. They lose to the Chiefs in week 2 when they play really well and just get beat by the champs at the very end because a rookie makes a mistake with the pass interference. And then they lose to the Commanders last night because Jayden Daniels, more on him in a moment, has quite literally, arguably, not definitively, but arguably, the greatest game any rookie quarterback has ever had. The Bengals had no turnovers, had no punts, and they lost to Washington. So here's my problem, DeMonze. One of the reasons I was so much more concerned about the Ravens than I was the Bengals was because of the schedule. Because who the Ravens had coming up, the Ravens have had the Cowboys and then the Bills before they play Cincinnati, while the Bengals had Washington and then Carolina before they play Baltimore. Well, you've now lost to Washington. And while I believe you're going to beat Carolina, what I think is this. Because after Carolina, they get the Giants, and after the Giants, they get Cleveland. And I understand folks right now might be like, Nick, they're 0-3. Stop talking about them like they're a good team. It's impossible for me to believe a Cincinnati team with a healthy Joe Burrow, a healthy Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins coming back is not going to be dynamic offensively. So I am not going to write off the Bengals. I am not going to say they are finished because they have a very real chance of a month from now being 3-4 just by beating 3 of the worst teams in football. Carolina, New York, and Cleveland.
Carolina's rejuvenated right now, though.
I think that was temporary rejuvenation. That's a fair point, but I think that was temporary rejuvenation, in part caused by playing the Raiders, and in part caused by the momentary lift of we're not having Bryce play quarterback for us anymore. I don't think that's going to be. I don't think all of a sudden they're a very good team. But listen, I think Washington was a very good team. Washington hung 38 on them. This Bengals defense has real problems right now. And Cam Taylor-Britt can talk all the shit he wants and keep getting cooked in these games. And he's a good player, by the way. He is a legitimate good player, but he's kind of gotten out ahead of himself a little bit. But so I am not going to write off the Bengals. What I am going to say is this. Going into their their second meeting with Baltimore, which is week 10, they need to be a minimum of 4-5, which means they got to go 4-2 through there, and probably have to be 5-4. So what they have is Carolina, Baltimore, New York, Cleveland, Philly, Vegas. So that's their next 6. So they have to go at least 4-2 and probably 5-1. I just think they can do that. So I'm not going to write them off
But with
entirely.
the way they started,
but
you could also say they could lose all of those games.
So
like those are all very losable games, it sounds like.
Well, listen, when you lose to the Patriots, every game's losable. And on its merits, DeMonze, you're right. I think a lot of people are prone early in the NFL season to overreaction. I might be prone a bit to underreaction. I might be really anchored by my preseason priors to a degree that, yes, I mean, the only winless teams in the league, is it at this point, is it just Tennessee and the Bengals? Oh, and the Jags, Jesus. Jags. Yeah, Tennessee, the Bengals, and the Jags are the only winless teams. So you're right. Like, every team that I listed that I say stinks has more wins than the Bengals do. I get that. But seeing the offense move the way it did yesterday, when that's what they have to be, it's why I am not going to just say they're dead in the water. What I want to see is what Vegas thinks right now. Vegas right now, Steelers fans have to be furious about this. The Bengals right now have better odds to win the AFC than the 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's a spit.
That's got to be, yeah. 0-3 Bengals, 3-0 Steelers. So right now, odds to win the AFC, the Chiefs plus 240, the Bills, more on them in a moment, plus 390, the Ravens plus 650, the Texans plus 700, the Jets plus 950, and then the only 2 teams that aren't at least 35-1 are the Bengals at 16-1 and the Steelers at 17-1. So I don't think the Bengals are dead yet, but my goodness gracious, they are on absolute life support. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.